And I'll request Sharadama to begin the discourse. She left us on a cliffhanger yesterday where we're just about to hear the questions that the student will ask of the teacher.
Thank you. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Shanno Mitra Sham Varunaha Shanno Bhavatvaryama Shanna Indro Brihaspatihi Shanno Vishnurukramaha Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami Ritam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmam Avatu Tadvaktaram Avatu Avatu Mam Avatu Vaktaram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Shruti Smruti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram. Shankaram Loka Shankaram. Hari Om. Thank you very much. We'll start as usual with the first Mangalacharanam, Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta as usual. Okay. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tama Gocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satgurum Pranatosmyaham. So yesterday we saw that after giving us the rarity, showing us how rare it is to have this human birth, Shankara took us to the next level. He said the purpose of life is to get mukti, and mukti can be had only through the realization. Unless we realize ourselves, we are not going to get mukti. No matter what we do, all the other things become gauna. That means they become the secondary. No? The first thing is that we have to realize what our true self is. So for that, he said, in the process, nobody can help you. You have to lift yourself by yourself. In this case, you have to lift yourself by yourself. Certain basic qualifications are necessary for the fit student. Even if you don't have a lot of it, at least basic principles, just we said, at least understanding what the teacher is saying, Medhavi, and retaining, being able to retain it. Uha poha vichakshanaha, to understand what arguments are being told, the pros and the cons. And then we said specifically the Viveka, Vairagya, Shamadhi, Shatka Sampatti, and also little bit at least of Mumukshutvam, wanting, desiring to get liberated. These were the qualifications for the student, and then certain qualifications for the teacher also was told, Santam Mahantam, how they should be Karunya Sindhu, and they should be able to repeat it for all of us as many times as we want to hear. And also, not, taking anything too lightly, to think that the student doesn't know, etc. To have that kind of a Vasantaval Lokahitam Charantam, as though they are like the spring season, which is just there to give happiness to everybody. They are going from place to place. So these are the great qualities of a teacher. That was also told. And then how a student has to approach a teacher, how he has to ask the question. And in the beginning, it is not specific. He doesn't know how to formulate his questions. So many times we have question in our mind, but we don't know how to ask the question. So he just goes and falls at the feet of the teacher. Swamin Namaste, Nata Loka Bandho, Karunya Sindhu. Please, I'm just, getting submerged, drowned in this samsara sagaram. Can you please lift me? And then he felt like teacher doesn't understand my predicament. So he started saying how I'm being roasted in this forest fire, which is being, ablaze with all my karmas that are making me get more hot. And it looks like there is maranam, there is death everywhere. What should I do? Right? So please help me. Having said that, when the teacher hears that, the next portion, it says that when the teacher hears this, he should not just say, oh, okay, what can I do? Not like that. The teacher has to be, compassionate enough to give him some kind of assurance. Yeah. So he should acknowledge first that the question was okay, and that he should acknowledge that, yes, there is some way of coming out of this. Yeah, so that is what is said in the subsequent couple of shlokas. So it says here, when he says, how can I come out? He says, hey, Vidwan, he's, in the 42nd verse, the teacher is addressing the student as Vidwan. So he says, you have come to me, and please don't worry. In that 43rd verse, 43rd, he says, Ma bhaishta Vidwan tava nasti apayaha. Oh, Vidwan, please don't worry. You don't have any danger at all. Okay? I shall see to it that samsara sindhos tarane asti upayaha. There is a methodology, there is a method to come out of this samsara sagaram. So there have been many people who have gone by this. This is not a road less traveled, but it is a road that is often traveled. So there are many people who have traveled through this path, and I shall show you, nirdishami. I shall show you that path, and then I shall lead you in that path. So when the teacher says that, a little bit of, the student then heaves a sigh of relief. So what should be done for understanding this is being given in the 46th verse, which we will chant today. 46. Shraddha bhakti dhyana yogan mumukshoho mukter hetun bhakti sakshat shrutergihi yo va eteshveva tishthatyamushya moksho vidya kalpita deha bandhat. Together. Shraddha bhakti dhyana yogan mumukshoho mukter hetun bhakti sakshat shrutergihi yo vayete shveva tishthatyamushya moksho vidya kalpita deha bandhat. He says, mumukshoho, for the mumukshus, for those people who are desirous of getting moksha, Muktehe hetun, the means of liberation. Shruter gihi. There is this Shruti, there is this Upanishad Vakya, which comes to our, it tells us, Bhakti, Sakshat, it directly tells us. Oh, really? Which Shruti is that? So the Shruti that tells about this is the famous Kaivalya Upanishad. In the Kaivalya Upanishad, the student goes to the teacher and he asks the teacher, Adihi Bhagavan Brahma Vidyam Varishtham Sada Sadbhihi Sevyamanam Nigudam Yaya Achirat Sarva Papam Vepohya Parat Param Purusham Yati Vidwan. Oh teacher, teach me that Vidya through which one can get moksha. Anybody can go. So then the teacher answers with these words that Shankara is quoting here. Okay, what is he saying? Hey, I cannot teach you. You have to learn it. So the teacher says, Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana Yogat Avaihi. That is what the Shruti says like that. These are direct words from the Shruti. So we can see how Shankara introduces us to Shruti very beautifully. So when we read, as I said, in the first day itself, when you go to, these Shruti, these Upanishad, you will feel like they have stolen from Shankaracharya's Viveka Chudamani. That's so beautifully put into these, woven into this. So it says, first is, what you have to have is Shraddha. Shraddha is extremely important for you to get this knowledge. So Shraddha, we say that the faith in the words of the teacher and in the words of the Shruti. Without Shraddha, you cannot have bhakti. Yeah. So faith and enough devotion, that is, devotion means love for that knowledge. That's all. Devotion doesn't mean something great. It just means that the love for this knowledge will take you. Then only you can have that heart to get meditation. Otherwise, the meditation does not happen if you don't love the subject. Yeah? So develop the faith for the scriptures and also faith in the teacher. And then you must develop the devotion for it, the love for it. And then it slowly, it will just culminate in your meditation also, which will make you abide in this knowledge. Now, by just listening, by Shraddha, you have to listen. With Shraddha, you have to listen. Okay, that's what the Shraddha stands for. So, Shraddha Purvaka Shravanam. That's what we have to do. That means when we are listening, we should have complete Shraddha. We have to totally put ourselves in there so that we can absorb whatever the teacher is telling us. That's the first thing. The second thing is Bhakti Purvaka Mananam. Bhakti Purvaka means reflecting with total dedication. Yeah? If we don't have dedication, then we cannot reflect properly also. So Mananam is done with the heart, with understanding that what my teacher has told is good for me. Okay, so Mananam. Then what about the Nididhyasanam? That is the meditation. It says Prayatna Purvaka Dhyanam. Prayatna Purvaka means with alertness, you have to do meditation. Gurudev always, we all know the words that Gurudev used to use, alert and vigilant. No, quiet, alert and vigilant. So you have to be extremely alert. Otherwise, your mind will just keep on going for a ride, taking you for a ride. So you have to be very, very attentive during meditation. So Shraddha Purvaka Shravanam, Bhakti Purvaka Mananam, and then Yatna Prayatnata. That is Prayatna Purvaka. You have to put Yatna, you have to put effort, and then be very alert. Nididhyasanam. This is what is the Dhyanam or Nididhyasanam. Okay. So people who argue, people always come and asking the questions. People always say, I'm trying to tell my people at work or friends, but they are not listening. They're only arguing. So that means they don't have any Shraddha. Until they get the Shraddha, you cannot tell them anything. So it's very hard. Okay. So we have to understand that it is extremely important for us to have this Shraddha. So this is what is first told. In the next shloka, he continues as to what should be done. Let us read that. Ajnana yogat paramatmanastava hi atmana bandhastata eva samsritihi tayor vivekodita bodhavannihi ajnana karyam pradahet samulam. So it says, Ajnana Yogat, how did you get this kind of how did you get into this samsara in the bondage in this? How did we all get it? That's what people always ask. How did we get into this? Yeah. So there is no first, it was there from the beginning. So Tava means to you, Paramatma, oh Supreme Self. The teacher is addressing us as Paramatma. What more can we ask for? Yeah, now we can just feel we are all Paramatmas only because he is calling the student as we are the students here, okay? So, hey Paramatma, Ajnana Yogat, because of the association with the ignorance, indeed, because of this only, Anatma Bandhaha, the bondage is with the not self. The self is left and the anatma, that which is not self, you have become attached to. Okay. Tata eva samsrutihi. And that's how you have gotten into this samsaram. So samsaram means transmigration. So punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani, jathare shayanam. So coming, going, this is the way it just goes on and on and on. So this is the diagnosis. See, first when you go to the doctor, because there are lots of doctors here, first you have to diagnose what is the problem. Without that, how can you treat? No, I'll just start giving you, some of us who don't know anything, we always act like doctors and then we just give, we say, yeah, it must be like that, just, mom doctor they call, doctor mom. So don't know anything, but then I just will give my own opinion about everything. So it should not be like that. You have to know first what the problem is. So now the problem is now pointed out. What is the cause for this entire thing? Now that is pointed out. You are Paramatma, but somehow you have gotten mixed up, associated with this ajnanam, this ignorance. And therefore, the bondage is because you have gotten mixed up with self, with not self. So you have attached yourself with the not self. So when you don't know who you are, you keep on mistaking yourself, then all relationships are also totally messed up. Yeah. So what to do now? So the first thing that we have to do is discriminate between what is self and what is not self. Tayor vivekaha, discrimination between what is right and what is wrong, what is self and what is not self. That will pradahet, that will burn. That will burn what? Ajnana karyam. All the effects of ajnanam, all the effects of the ignorance will all be burnt. Samulam, totally, root, everything, the whole, the stock, everything is gone. So it will destroy all the ignorance and the symptoms of the ignorance also. So this is what is told in this, in the shlokam of 47. Now in the 48th shloka, the Shishya is just telling, okay, now I understand that my problem is this. You have told me, and now I'm assured that there is a way. Now, can you please listen to my question? He says, Kripaya Shruyatam Swamin, O Swamin, O Lord, Prashnaha ayam kriyate maya. I'm going to ask you a question. Prashnaha, it is a singular, we all know. Prashnaha kriyate maya. I am going to ask you a question, one question. Yad uttaram aham shrutva, having listened to the answer for which, kritartaha syam bhavan mukhat. When I hear the answer from your mouth, I shall feel very, very fulfilled. The answer will give me fulfillment because I know that will give me the moksha. Okay, so now he is going to ask the question. Yeah. So this is the famous question that we have been waiting for. So here we go with the question, one question. Okay, so let us see how one question turns out to be not so very one question. 49th shlokam. Ko nama bandha kathamesha agataha katham pratisthasya katham vimokshaha. Ko savanatma paramah ka atma tayor viveka kathametadutyatam. Together. Ko nama bandha kathamesha agataha katham pratisthasya katham vimokshaha. Ko savanatma paramaka atma tayor viveka kathametadutyatam. One more time. Ko nama bandha kathamesha agataha katham pratisthasya katham vimokshaha. Ko savanatma paramaka atma tayor viveka kathametadutyatam. As I said, Gurudev used to make us learn this by heart. So every time we had to say it without looking. He would just look at every one of us if we were looking down to see the book or not. Yeah. So very, very important. So the question was, Prashnaha ayam. One question I'm going to ask you, but then here now you find that it is not one question. The first question, there are 6 or 7 questions here. First question, Ko nama bandhaha. Oh teacher, what is bondage? What is bondage? You said, Paramatma, because of association with Ajnana, I became this Anatma. So, Anatma Bandha, that I got bound by this Anatma. So, what is this bondage that you're talking about? Ko Nama Bandha. That is the first question. The second question, Katham Esha Agataha. In the first place, how did it come into being? How did it come into being? I told you before Ajnana Yogat. Before that, I have to, the teacher has said Ajnana Yogat. But where does this Ajnana come from? Where does this ignorance come from? I want to know. Katham Esha Agataha. So many things come and so many things go away also. I've got headaches so many times, but then it goes away. But then this having come, it's now staying. So Guruji's joke, even this will pass away, people say, but then he says, but something else will come on your way. So it's always like that. Now one thing goes away, we all know in our life, one thing, appa, this problem is over. Before we say over, another problem is waiting. Or many are waiting. At once, so many things come. So, but then how come this doesn't go? How come it's just staying? So, this is what the question. First one is, Ko nama bandhaha, what is bandha, what is bondage? How did it first of all come in the first place? Third one, Katham pratishtha asya. How does it sustain itself? What is making it be there? No, having come, it's like an unwanted guest, but it doesn't leave also. It just sits. When we were in New York, when we came to this country, first we came to New York and we stayed there. And unfortunately or fortunately, we used to live near the airport. Anybody who came to America in those days used to come through New York. And then somebody will tell someone else that, oh, those people are staying near airport, so they won't mind. You can just go, you can write to them. So every other day, they used to make fun of my husband, Kumar limousine service, so we had to go and then we had to keep on, picking them up and bring. And they won't even say where they have to go, when they will leave. Once they come, they stay. Yeah, that's like that. Ko nama bandhaha, katham yesha agataha, katham pratishtha asya. how come it just stays like this? I want to know. Huh? So, deep rooted, does not go at all. Astrologer says that your Shani Dasha will be there. What to do? For 3 years, it will be there. Then what will happen, Panditji? If we ask, he will say, then you will get used to it. That's all. Ayo, then what? After that, after Rahu Dasha will come, something else will come. So this is how this bondage is. It doesn't go. It has come to stay. All right. So 3 things. What is bondage? How did it start? How did it come in the first place? Then how is it that it is staying like this? Then the next question, Katham Vimokshaha. How is the liberation possible? Yeah. So it looks like when we are going through some suffering, it is never ending, right? So when will it end? When will I get the moksham? Yeah? So how is it? Katham vimoksha. How is liberation? How is it going to be possible? So 4 questions over. Now the 5th question. Kosa vanatma. That means kaha asau anatma. What is this not self that you are talking about? What is this not self that you are saying? Self and not self. You have to have the viveka, you said. What is this not self? And then paramaha ka atma. What is that supreme paramatma that you talked about? You said there is anatma and there is parama atma. What is that? And tayor vivekaha. How to distinguish between them? I want to know how to distinguish between Atma and Anatma. All right. So what are the questions? Ko nama bandhaha? Katham esha agataha? Katham pratishtha asya? Katham vimokshaha? Kaha asau anatma? Paramakka atma? Tayor vivekaha katham. Etad uchyatam. Just this only you tell me. One question I am asking. Yeah. So the whole of the Viveka Chudamani, 500 and odd shlokas are only answer to these questions. Okay. So now, in our examination papers, we always have, they will give about 10 questions and they will say answer any 5. Yeah. So you are given a choice to answer 5. Here there is no choice given. And in fact, they are saying there is only one question. Ayyo, if it's some question paper, if it were given to us like this, will we keep quiet? Immediately we'll sue them. We'll say, what is this? There are 7 questions, sub question, and you are saying there is only one question. No, but nothing like that. The teacher just smiles and he says, perfect questions. This is what he is waiting for. The teacher waits for the right question from the student, and with the question themselves, with the tone of the question, the teacher knows the student is ready. Yeah, what can we say? For such a student who is so ready, perfect questions he is asking, all the right questions that one should ask if one really wants to get moksha. Yeah, not, Swamiji, were you married before? What happened? Did no one marry you? Why did you become a sannyasi? These kind of questions people ask because they have no idea what to ask people, right? So what did you have for lunch? But why don't you like eggplant? I'm just worried. I'm wondering, so all these kind of questions. What is the question to be asked? Beautifully now he has asked, right? So the teacher now understands this is Medhavi Purusho Vidwan. All these things he has understood that this student has now understood what should be asked. So the teacher is besides himself. So this is all dramatizing, like as though a student who is very much bothered by all these things has looked for a teacher, and he has come and he has surrendered himself and he has put this question in front of the student, and instead of giving him a choice, he says, answer this one question. But the teacher has the, privilege of choosing which question to answer when. Yeah, he need not answer in the same sequence as the questions were asked. Yeah? Ko nama bandhaha, katham esha agataha, katham pratisthasya, katham vimokshah, kos kaha asau anatma, paramakka atma, tayor viveka, katham etad uchyetam. He doesn't take the first first questions. Okay. He is now going to take the Atma, Anatma, Vivekam. That is what he is going to take. But before that, he is praising the student because he is just so happy. Okay. So now what does the teacher, how does he feel happy about the student is being told here. Let us see. Shri Guru Ruvacha, 50th one. Dhanyosi kritakrityosi pavitam te kulam tvaya yada vidya bandha muktya brahmi bhavitum ichhasi. Together. Dhanyosi kritakrityosi pavitam te kulam tvaya yada vidya bandha muktya brahmi bhavitum ichhasi. Dhanyosi. Dhanyosi. You are blessed. The question, when he hears, he is just thrilled. You are blessed indeed. Kritakrityaha asi. Fulfilled indeed you are. That's only said when you get realized. Yeah. But the teacher now knows that this guy is no ordinary guy. Like, it seems when Shankara reached Govinda Bhagavad Pada, he just went and he went first, as you know, the Narmada river was in spate and all those things. We are not going to go into the whole story. But he goes flat namaskar to the teacher. And the teacher, when he looks at this young boy, he's saying, where have you been? I have been waiting for you, 7-year-old kid. Where have you been? Yeah. So can you imagine how that connection between the student and the teacher, that is something by God's grace that happens. So anytime we have some guru like that, we have to understand that it is only by God's grace. So he says, Dhanyosi, blessed indeed you are. Kritakrityosi, fulfilled indeed you are. Then what? Not only you are fulfilled, pavitam te kulam tvaya. By you, by your questioning, your family has already been sanctified. We always say, if there is one person who gets realized in one family, 7 generations are all, then they become, they are all moksha only. They all get moksha. This is what it is said like that. Yeah. So, pavitam te kulam tvaya. Your entire dynasty, your family has been sanctified. Yet avidya bandha muktya. That being freed from this bondage of avidya, of ignorance, brahme bhavitum ichhasi. You want to become Brahman. You want to become all the others in this world. What do they want to become? We want to become either the, the manager in my company, or, some supervisor or CEO of my company. No. All those things are not for me. Mayor. No. I want to be a governor, senator, president. I want this, I want that. All those things, we want only those kind of things. But you here are wanting to become Brahman. Arre vah kya. So the teacher is just so happy to see such a student. Yeah. So if you tell this kind of a thing in the beginning itself, the student will become very, very proud. Do you know what the teacher said? We'll all have, immediately we'll record it. This is what the teacher told me. You want to hear? No, I don't want to hear. No, you have to hear. So then I just put it on so that you will hear. So this student has no cell phone with him. He has nothing, none of those things. So when a student, this always happens. We know when the student goes to the first year medical school, all the people in the family call him, doctor, come here, because they know that one day he's going to become a doctor. Right now, he doesn't even know what gross anatomy, how do you spell also. But then that's all, he's called as a doctor. No? And the same thing, even when somebody goes to the brahmachari course, now already Swamiji, they start, talking like that. So this is how the teacher is now telling him that you have already fulfilled your life. So this is what is told in this 50th verse. So when a highly qualified student reaches a highly competent teacher, this is where the meeting has taken place. The teacher is very pleased with the student and congratulates him for having this great longing for this knowledge and for liberation. Yeah? But along with that, next is he also makes him understand that he has got responsibilities that go with it. Very important for the students to know that there is some responsibilities. If you have some extra, he is just giving some examples. We'll just quickly go through them because there are so many. I don't know which one to choose and which one to not choose. It has been a very, very difficult thing for me because each shloka, if you read, you must have read already, it is just too good. So it is very bad that I'm not choosing all the shlokas, but we can't help it. So as the teacher says, the three examples are given here: 51, 52, and 53. Can you all see that? Yeah. So he is just giving some 3 examples. Rina mochana kartaraha. Yeah. So ऋणमोचन कर्तारः पितुः सन्ति सुतादयः बन्धमोचन कर्ता तु स्वस्माद् अन्यो न कश्चन. When a father is not able to, he has lot of debts, he's not able to repay, then maybe his son can take up whatever the father has to give back, and he can help him in this case of when there is a debt. That can be done. How about mastakanyasta bharadehe dukkham anyaihi nivaryate? Somebody is carrying a very heavy load on the head, and as they are walking, it becomes very difficult. The first example was outside of that person. The second example is right on the body of the person. He is carrying some heavy load. Then the passerby may say, "You want some help? Come, I will help you to take it to a certain distance, or I will help you to put it down on the roadside, some kind of a rock or something. You can sit down for a little bit and then you can walk." So somebody can help you to carry the load, to relieve you of the pain a little bit. But when it comes to your own body, pathyam aushadha seva cha kriyate yena rogina arogya drishtasya nanyanu tishtat akarmana. Now, if a person is not feeling well, and the doctor has told him, you cannot eat certain food. You have to eat only these foods. You cannot eat all the, or any which food you want, because your stomach is not okay, supposing. So that has to be done by himself. He has to only do it by himself. Nobody else can go. The mother cannot say, okay, for you, I will go for Pathyam. Pathyam means I won't eat anything. So it won't happen. Only you have to do it by yourself. So these are all different examples that he is just giving. These examples are pointed out. You have to understand that in this case, similarly, when we come to this ajnana vimochanam, when you have to get realized, you have to do it by yourself. This is what is being, you have to do it by yourself. Otherwise, it won't get that avidya. Avidya means ignorance. Somebody said, don't call avidya as ignorance. Not having the knowledge. Okay, so not having the knowledge. Because of that, we all know avidya leads to kama, desire. Desire leads to action. Avidya, kama, karma. This is the whole samsaram. This is what our whole samsaram, these are the three things. So all these three things, you have to loosen the bondage by yourself. Nobody can do it for you. So the need of self-effort is pointed out. So you cannot say, oh, why do you say that? I don't know. No, you are very fanatical. No, it is not being fanatical. You cannot say, to see, you need your eyes only. When you say like that, is it being fanatical? No, why can't I use my ears to see? You cannot. Yeah. So here also, it's something that is the fact. When it is a fact, you have to only understand by yourself. There is no other way. So these things, all these things are put in a very poetical, beautiful shloka. Again, very, very, Gurudev used to be very fond of this 65th shloka. So we will just go to that 65th shloka. Yeah. 6-5. A beautiful poetical description. Aptoktim khananam tatho parishila Udyutkarshanam svikritim Nikshepa samapekshate nahi bahihi Shabdaistu nirgachati Tadvad brahma vidopadesha shamana. Sorry. Tadvad brahma vidopadesha manana. Dhyanadibhirlabhyate. Maya karyatirohitam swamamalam. Tatvam na duryuktibhihi. As you say it itself, you can just imagine how beautiful the poetry is. So it says, there was a man. You should listen to Gurudev's story. This is a story, okay? He just makes it like a big story. That man used to be, his parents and all, he used to be very rich. They all had a very good life at young age. But as that man grew older, all money gone, he has become very poor. Money is all gone. He's sitting in the veranda, reminiscing about his old times when it used to be so nice. At that time, and older than that person, a person is walking by. And this man says, oh, hello, uncle, how are you? And then that uncle sees him and he comes and says, oh, what happened? You used to be so rich. What happened? Says, what to do? Bad times now. So this uncle says, listen, I will tell you something. Your father was a great friend of mine. Okay. And we used to be talking all the time. And what he did was, he took a lot of money and jewelry, etc. He put it in a trunk. And we both only went to that tree, points out to a tree in the yard. Under the tree, we dug a big hole and we put the trunk in there, and then we put the mud and everything. This was a long time ago. If you want, you can take it. When the man hears this, there are two paths now here. All these kind of things come to us. Either he can believe in the apta uktim. The first line, apta uktim means shravanam. When something is told to you by your teacher, you can take it as the truth, as that is with Shraddha, or you can just say, Cheh, all these things are old-fashioned. In the olden time, it was okay. Not anymore. You can just leave it like that. Yeah. So aptoktim. After listening to that, if there is faith, then what would you do? This man says, okay, I will try and do it. So after the man goes away that night, he tries to look for a pickaxe or whatever to make a hole. Doesn't have anything. just takes a small little whatever he has and he starts doing. It takes too long, then he leaves it like that. Next day morning, he should not go to the neighbor and ask for an axe. They will immediately, say, hey, what is this? This man never does anything at all. So he has to go some 4 streets away and then go and ask somebody to give a pickaxe for a few hours, bring it back, but not do it when there is daylight, when everything is dark. He has to go there and then he has to dig the hole, and slowly he has to, when he digs the hole, all the mud will keep on going in. So, aptoktim khananam tatva upari means as on top of the thing, all the mud and the pebbles and the rock and everything is there. He has to move everything to the side so that it doesn't go back in. All this you have to imagine in your mind, okay? The way Gurudev used to explain, all these things would go in our mind as to what actually happens. So the khananam is like mananam, okay? Khananam here means the digging and all that, but in our mind, after listening to what the Apta Ukti is, what the teacher and the scriptures have told us, we have to do mananam on it so that all the bad things don't come back to us. Unless we do mananam, there cannot be clarity of thought. Okay, the questions will always remain unless we do the proper thinking. So this is the mananam. Khananam, shiladi utkarshanam svikrutim. Shiladi utkarshanam. All the stones and everything have to be thrown out. It cannot come back in. All the negative thoughts have to go out. You can just beautifully imagine what a great example this is. Nikshepaha samapekshate nahi bahihi shabdaistu nirgachati. Unless you actually slowly, you go inside and then until you remove all the dirt, whatever that trunk or that suitcase or whatever that is inside, when it comes there, you have to lift it by yourself. And it is so heavy, it's so difficult for him. But slowly, he cannot call anybody. He should not tell anybody. Even it seems he cannot tell his wife also. Otherwise, next day she will just go and say to the neighboring lady, what happened yesterday? And so you should not tell her. I mean, this is what Gurudev used to make fun of. So don't take it too badly. It's just for fun. He used to say that. And then now when you take it out, it says, Shabdaistu nirgachati. If you say, open sesame, or in other words, you say, trunk, you come out. Will it come? Just by repetition of the mantras, will it happen? This is what it is. Just by saying that the trunk, you come out, chest, you come out, nothing comes out. Yeah, you understand? You have to do it by yourself. It has to be done by yourself. Tadvad, in the same way. Then what happens? After you bring that, you have to slowly bring it inside the house, even though it is very heavy, without making any noise. Then slowly close up the hole and then cover it again with all the, whatever grass, everything. So nobody will know what happened. And then at night, you have to close all the windows and everything. And you have to see what was in that. And then you find all the things that you want to become rich. And after that also, that's why he used to say, don't go and tell everybody, tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock, please don't call me. Why? I'm going to start meditating. Yeah. So that means people will call you. Okay. Because they would like to know, are you really meditating or not? And then, some people say, every day I meditate at 4:30. The one who is actually doing meditation should not be announcing like that. So that's what all these things, they go hand in hand. I don't have much time, so I'm not going too much into this, but already I'm taking a lot of time. But this is the beautiful shloka that it says how you have to really understand that that man cannot go and sell whatever he has in that same city, because the police will come and then they will take away everything, or taxes will be, so much that he will not get any money at all. So what does he have to do? He has to go to some city, sell one thing, and then go to another city after many days, and then sell another piece of jewelry. This is the way that he does. So here also, Tadvat, in the same way, Brahmavid Upadesha manana dhyanadibhir labhyate. How will this Brahman be obtained? By first listening and then doing mananam on this, doing the proper, all the things, whether what, why is it like that? How can it be like this? I don't even believe this. I can't even believe this. I don't understand this. All these things. So the meaning is just beautiful. If I just start with each of the words, it will take a long time. So you can just understand. So then if you do that, then dhyanadibhi. So you have to own it up. Then when you do that, maya karya tirohitam swam amalam tatvam duryukti bihi, na duryukti bihi. By unnecessary arguments. People just keep on arguing about this. That does not happen. You have to, this maya will just go away by understanding and removing all the malam, all the dirt and everything that was there. When you clear it, automatically this Brahman will be known to you. So this is what is beautifully said in this shloka. So if we all can remember the shloka, that we have to put forth effort, self-effort is needed, and then don't become too ostentatious by making everybody know that now, I have become this person. Now this is what I used to be very interested in everything else, but nowadays, I'm not like that. Hey, just stop that. Just do it. And then as you keep doing it, then automatically the result will come to you. So maya karya tirohitam. Just that this treasure was hidden, this truth was hidden from you, from our own vision it was hidden. So because of the effects of maya. So truth was there all the time. This treasure was with him all the time, but he did not know. Some friend had to come. When the friend came, he listened to the friend and he took it. See, what is wrong in having faith? It is only going to, supposing, he says that I don't believe it, but still I will have faith in my friend. Let me do it. So what does he lose? Nothing. He had some, he dug and nothing came out. Because he may say, like all these Kutarka people who are just argumentative, they will say things like that. How can it be? All these years have passed by. Do you mean to say that nobody came here? And do you mean to say that the friend who knew that will keep quiet? Will he not take it? He must have taken it. He is just bluffing. That's what we will think. Yeah. So, but then if you have the faith and you go and you try, so you may not get it if it is not there. You have done some exercise good for you. Yeah. So either way, you are a winner only. So this is a beautiful shloka that we have to, what is Shraddha? We said in the beginning itself, Guru, Shastra, Vakyeshu, Vishwasaha, Shraddha. So Satya Buddhi Avadarana, we have already said. So we have to have that Shraddha for this. Now, having said that, we go to the 69th and the 70th. So those two shlokas are again quite, information, more information is given on this. So going to the 69th and 70th shloka. Mokshasya hetu prathamo nigadyate vairagyam atyantam anitya vastushu tatashamaschaapi damasti tiksha nyasa prasakta khila karmanam bhrisham. So he says, for liberation, I will tell you what you have to have. What are the different qualities that you have to have? The best quality, first thing, you have to have detachment from all the anitya vastu. Once you know what is not permanent, like yesterday we said, once you know this is garbage, you should not get attached to it. It looks like very easy, but we are all doing it all the time. After that, next thing is shamaha cha api damaha and titiksha. So we have to have shama, we said the control of mind, and dama, control of all the sense organs, and then titiksha, the forbearance, the endurance. We said that yesterday. Nyasaha prasakta akhila karmanam bhrisham. This is a little bit difficult. It says here, if we are really very serious about this, then we have to give up all other selfish activities. So many things we are doing, but right now at my stage in life, how can I give up? People may say, okay, if you cannot give up, that is okay. But if you are at a stage, because there are some of us who never think that we will come to that stage at all, and we just die one day. So let that life not be a surprise that suddenly it ends. Remember, at some point, you have to do this, that this alone is my goal and I want to get this. This is very, very important to make it as an important thing. All the other things become secondary. And then in the next one, Tata Shrutistan Mananam Satatva Dhyanam Chiram Nitya Nirantaram Munehe Tato Vikalpam Parametya Vidvan Ihaiva Nirvana Sukham Samrichati. Then after doing that, he has already told what has to be done in the beginning. Then Shrutistan Shravanam Mananam. Yeah, doing mananam, satatva dhyanam. That, the reality has to be, you have to meditate upon. Chiram, for a long time, try to be in that, in that nididhyasanam, in that meditative state. Then, tato vikalpam, nirvikalpa samadhi will come to you. Ihaiva nirvana sukham. In this life itself, as you are living itself, you can get Jivan Mukti. This is what the teacher assures the student. When the student asks those questions, first he assures him that if you follow these steps, then you are sure to get the Mukti. Unfortunately, we will not be able to finish all the 580 shlokas, but the way this whole shlokas series go, you will see very methodically, Shankara just takes you as though by your hand and takes you through different steps. And at the end, he also shows about what is Nirvikalpa Samadhi, what is a Jivan Mukta Purusha, what happens to him, how does he live in this world. Everything is being told in this from the beginning to the end. So this is a very, very beautiful thing. So then after having said that, then we go to the 71st shloka. It says, Yat bodhavyam tava idanim atman atma vivechanam tad uchyate maya samyak shrutva atmani avadharaya. Oh student, now you have asked me 7 questions. It doesn't say like that, but we are just saying. In that, I'm going to now tell you, Idanim, now I'm going to tell you how to discriminate between Atma and Anatma. So the first 4 questions, I'm leaving it for now. I'm going to go to the 5th question, Kaha Asau Anatma, and then what is that Parama Atma? So I'm going to take that Anatma. Because, why? Because tomorrow I'll tell you why Anatma is taken first. And I will just tell you as to what is Anatma and that Vivechana, the Viveka Buddhi, how to discriminate between Atma and Anatma. I will tell you, and you please completely listen to me. Avadharaya, you understand, and you, as I'm saying, as you know, this Vidya is something, as we are listening itself, we can get realization once we are pure enough. Yeah. So we all know in that Kenopanishad, it says that the students are listening. There are some students, even after 1 or 2, Keneshitam Patitam, the answer is given and then the students are now realized. And there are some who keep sitting for more explanation. There are some for more explanation. At the end, everybody is gone. One guy is still there. The teacher says, yes, what do you want? He says, when are you going to start Upanishad, sir? And you go, what? What have I? If you and I were there, we'll get angry. But the teacher doesn't get angry. he just gives him some kind of upasana to start with. He understands that this poor guy doesn't know. So this is what a teacher's quality is. No? So this is beautiful. So here it says, please listen to me carefully so that you can understand. So anatma. What is anatma? What is not atma is being beautifully told here. Now, in this one, first he starts with the gross body. The gross body. So here in the 72nd shloka, he is just, you will think that it is a gross anatomy class only for all those doctors. You will. So it says here, you can read the meaning and you will see, composed of the 7 ingredients: the marrow, bones, fat, flesh, blood, dermis, and epidermis, and consisting of the following parts: the legs, the thighs, the chest, the arms, the back, and the head. So you can see the whole body is described. Yeah. So he is just beautifully describing all the body, and then how we have in this body the notion that I am this body. Yeah. The notion that I am. When I say I'm very beautiful. Yeah. Or I what to do? I'm very ugly. I'm so tall. No, you are not tall. People tell me you are very short. Oh, okay. I'm very short. Yeah. So all these things belong to my body, and I think that I'm that body. Or I'm so intelligent. That is my intelligence. I don't know what I am, and I attach myself to the body, and it says what the body is made up of. After all, in the next shloka, you can see Panchikaranam, how this body is made up of the 5 elements that is being talked about, as to how it goes, all the 5 different elements combined together to make this body, and how we all think that we are this body. That, that idea never leaves us. We always think that we are the body, the gross body. So then that is condemned later on, and then slowly he goes beyond that, and then he comes to the subtle body. So tomorrow we'll try to take a little bit of each of this, and how he negates the subtle body also, and then slowly he goes to the causal body, which is the next thing to negate. And here, beautifully about Maya, he gives beautiful definitions, which are all things to be learned by heart, because then we will never have any doubt about what is this Maya. The way he explains to us, it's very beautifully said. So all those things are negated slowly and slowly. Once all these are negated, then the student says, is there anything after this? When we negate everything, is there actually anything at all? And the teacher says, of course, there is something that is negating and something that is always there, which is the only thing that is the substratum, which is the only truth. And then thus he takes us to the Atma. So from Anatma, so he now talks about the Atma. So Atma, Anatma, Vivechanam, that is what he does first. And then he beautifully takes us through the next steps of what is bondage, how it has come, and now how it is staying, and how to get moksha. How to get moksha, in that there is a beautiful section of meditation. And in that meditation section, there are very, very famous meditation verses. So somehow we'll try to come up to that. It's 254, lot of shlokas in between. So we will try and cover everything in a nutshell, all these things. And then we'll come to the meditative verses, because you all should hear. When you do Viveka Chudamani, it will not be doing any service to anybody if we don't even listen to these shlokas. So we'll try and take as many shlokas as there are 10 shlokas in that. So we'll try and take as many as possible with a little bit of meaning for each of them, so that at the end of our Viveka Chudamani, we'll feel the satisfaction that at least we have done these beautiful verses. So after that, what is there? Because it goes on for 500. Then after that, he again goes back into all the different negation of all the different panchakoshas. And then he talks about, because even when we meditate, the thought, because of our vasanas, they don't leave us immediately. They are always there because this has been there from time immemorial. This, our ajnanam, has started many billions of births ago. So it won't go away just easily. So even when we are meditating, suddenly this thought will come. Now, how come that is possible? And so he is again going through the whole thing. There is a series of swadhyaya, that adhyasa you just leave. There are a series of meditative verses. And then he also talks about the Jivan Mukta Purusha's Lakshanam, which we don't have to take right now. We'll come to that when we become Jivan Mukta Purusha. So at least that much we don't have to do right now, but at least this, up to this meditative verses, we'll try and do tomorrow and day after, so that we would have done some justice to this whole beautiful text. Okay. So again, we'll chant the questions so that we'll remember. So 49th verse, if you can go back to. Ko nama bandha kathamesha agataha katham pratisthasya katham vimokshaha ko savanatma paramakka atma tayor viveka kathametaduchyatam. One more time. Ko nama bandha kathamesha agataha katham pratisthasya katham vimoksha ko savanatma paramakka atma tayor viveka kathametaduchyatam. All of you, please remember, what is bondage? How did it come? How is it still staying like this? Why is it not leaving me? What is this Atma? What is this Atma? What is that? Anatma? What is Atma? How do you differentiate? And then in the fourth one, I forgot to say, how do you get the moksha, right? So all those things. So the 7 questions, please remember, and we will just try to do the Atma, Anatma, Vivechanam, and then going to the what is Atma and how to meditate on that. All right? So we'll see you. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Let us see what questions we have today.
Amma, there's one more question in the chat box also after you're done with those 2 questions. So if we have time, otherwise we can do tomorrow.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Harish Ji.
Okay, all right. It is the same question that somebody had asked already, no? Almost. Okay. All right. Now going to the first question. So this is not one question. This is as the person has put, there are 99 questions in that. So all put together in one. So this is like how that student asked, he said one question and then something like that. So you are a perfect student. So it says here, but it is a very good question in the sense, this is what we all have this kind of a dilemma. It says, the topic is praise. We live in times where praise is like a drug. Parents praise children, husbands and wives praise each other, and friends praise friends, and the list goes on. Sometimes, even if it is not genuine, circumstances force people to say words of praise because we know it is being expected. Also, if the praise isn't given, it is deemed arrogant of the person who doesn't give it. So the question is, how much of praise is too much? How to keep ourselves in check? How do we keep ourselves in check at not falling into this trap? Sometimes even in the seva opportunities, they are driven by the praise that will come following the hard work. How do we keep this under control? Also, I'm aware that this is different from saying thank you to someone, because showing gratitude is necessary. But is showing praises a good thing to do just to look good in front of others? I know I do it sometimes to make the other person think that I'm generous with my ability to see good in others. So this kind of a dilemma comes to all of us as we become more and more spiritual. Okay, so when we are not spiritual, people who are not spiritual, you will find that they do this all the time. Why I'm saying this is, in all the associations when we go, if it is any of these associations, they always keep on praising everybody. Whoever does anything, they have to praise. The husband is praising the wife because she has done something, or the wife is praising the husband. All these things in front of everybody. And then nowadays in the social media also, people write about everything in that Facebook that, oh, my child, about the child only they are writing. Why do you do that? So this has become like a disease for people. So we have to understand, as we become more and more sensitive to this, as we only it takes sensitivity. We have become sensitive because of our understanding that all these things are superficial. Yeah. So what you are asking is absolutely correct. Is this really necessary? No, it is not necessary. But since we are living in this world and we have to follow certain norms, we do have to do a little bit of whatever we have to do, but not more. So to a certain extent, you just put a stop to that. People may think that you are rude, but we can't help it. No? So slowly and slowly they will understand that you are genuine about what you are saying. And like all these swamis praise you only when something is right. No, I hope you all, I only wish you had been with Gurudev, then you will understand what I'm talking about. So whenever something wrong done, immediately padar, the hit will come. So you know that I have done something wrong. But nowadays nobody does like that. So we just keep going on in the wrong way. So yeah, you don't have to be like that. You just keep a limit for yourself. This much I'll do and that's it. If people mistake me, that's their problem, not my problem. But we don't have to be rude for that also. That's also another thing, that sometimes we become very cynical, and then it's even nowadays people are even so difficult for them to smile even. So okay, my jokes may not be that good, but at least you can encourage me by smiling. We have one of the people in our group who keeps on joking, and we all don't even smile because we don't want to encourage him. He's sitting here, he has come here. So anyway, so we have to understand that we do need to keep relationships, because we are not yet sannyasis. We can't just give up everything, but we have to understand that this is not the right thing. And yeah, absolutely right. As you become more and more sensitive, all these things start bothering you. Every way of the game, it will bother us. But we have to understand that's the way life is. I will do only this much and not. You just make yourself some kind of a limit, and that's all. And people will understand that that's the way you are. Nothing wrong. Okay. There is no one cookie cutter answer for that, because it all depends upon the circumstance and the people's relationships and how they take it, etc. The others may do it, let them do it. That's different. The second question. Religion is a way for us to purify our mind so we can learn the art of right contact with ourselves, the people around us, this world, and God. But we often hear people say, I am spiritual but not religious. How is this possible? Is it because one does not understand what religion truly is? Can you please clarify, Amma? Yes, you absolutely are right. People don't know what religion is, and so they think like this. So, religion is all the spirituality only. Otherwise, what is religion? So, what people understand as religion in most of the cases, especially in our Hinduism, is that all the ritualism is considered as religion. Okay, when a person does a lot of rituals, they think they are very, very religious. Yeah, but that's not true. Yeah, that's not true at all. When you know Vedanta, that's not true at all, right? So you can do Vadantu Shastrani, we just did yesterday, so we can keep on quoting from different things and all that. That doesn't make you, any religious or anything. So because they have not understood what religion is, they are talking like they cannot be separated. They are both one only. So, but you need not be ritualistic. That is a different thing. Yeah. So there are some people who are not ritualists, but there are other people who really believe and they do. That's very good. Nothing wrong with that also. Yeah. So we have to understand that's also very good, but we may not be. So we can say I'm not a ritualist, but I'm a spiritual. Maybe we can say like that. We can correct them when they say. We don't know if that is possible, or we can understand like that. I hope the answer is enough for whatever, because of time, that's all I can say. The third question here, how do we select on a right teacher, guru? Once you have chosen a teacher, is it okay to change to find a different teacher because we feel we are looking for some other guru? So, Gurudev is to tell us, this is a very serious subject. Gurudev is to tell us, don't take a living person as a guru. Because when you do that, that person, when he or she doesn't come up to your expectations, then you will start, suddenly feeling like, oh, I should not have this person as my guru. So he actually used to tell us like that. At that time, I used to feel so bad. Why is he saying like this? But now I understand what he means. So when you're saying that, can we change to find another guru? So that clearly shows that we have not thought about this properly, right? So as we always say, the guru finds us. We don't find a guru. When I am ready, the guru comes to me. It just happens and it will click. It automatically clicks. But when we find somebody and think that this is my guru, then it doesn't work like that. So you just, as I said, the flower has to blossom. It has to bloom. Then the bees shall come by themselves. You don't have to do anything to bring the bees. It will happen. So you don't worry. If you think that you have not chosen the right guru, don't worry about it. You just keep doing all the right things. Keep studying, keep doing everything. And then automatically you will find that you will be in the company of the proper teacher. Yeah? And especially now that you have come to this Chinmaya mission, we all know that Gurudev is our guru. And there is no going wrong in that. He was the best, he is the best, and he will be the best. We know that. So you follow his footsteps, and then there you are. Moksha is, guaranteed 100%. Who is guaranteeing? I am guaranteeing, because we know that Gurudev's effect is like that. We have seen people, what it does to you. It is just a miracle that happens when you really believe in Gurudev, and he does everything for you. Somehow or the other, everything will happen. So just have that faith, and that's all you have to do. Wish you all the best. God bless you. Hari Om. All right. So we'll see you all tomorrow. I always feel like I have not done justice because there is so many things to say. But that's what I will feel. That's my problem. I know that's not your problem.
Amma, we can go on for another couple of weeks. We are ready.
We can go on, but you and I will be sitting here, but that's okay. That's all. Anyway, it is so nice of you to have given me. This is a beautiful, beautiful text. And there are so many things from the morning I've been weeding out, what I don't want. But I say, no, I have to do this. No, I have to. So this is my problem. But anyway, thank you very much. So, all of you, please try to read this. Gurudev's explanations are so beautiful in the book. So you will just get lost, in the way Gurudev has explained.
Hari Om, Sardavi.
Hari Om.
everybody.
Please send the questions to Vishala and she will send it to me.
Thank you.
Hari Om Sharadamma.
Hari Om, Dharmaraj.
Hari Om, Aunty.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari
Hari
Om.
Om.
Hari Om, Amma.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Mummy.
Hari Om.
I didn't see this guy.
Khush.
Hari Om, I have one quick announcement.
Yes.
Suresh, can you just quickly say a couple of words?
Yeah, so thank you. And we'll make more announcements about this next tomorrow as well. But we have a wonderful tradition in through our scriptures and through our gurus of Guru Dakshina. And so we'll start posting a link for people to offer their Guru Dakshina. This helps Chinmay Mission, but it's really just a tradition that is so wonderful of us expressing our gratitude towards the Guru who is spreading this word, the wisdom of Vedanta to all of us so that we can be better ourselves. And so you'll find a link in the chat box for to offer the Guru Dakshina. We'll post this tomorrow and the next day as well.
Thank you very much. Hari Om. Hari Om, everyone. Nice to see you all. And if you all can, tomorrow you can all dress up and then you can put on the video. So we will be able to see you all. It will be wonderful to see everybody. Only the names are here. We don't know how you look. I would love to see you all. Thank you. Hari Om.
Hari Om.